A lot of people shot themselves by accident, was the story I got. If there was an outbreak of gang violence, it would obviously involve a gun war. Her husband had actually taken the attitude that he may as well let her die. One night I was called to see a man who had been shot. During my time there, I was working in the emergency department, and the worst things I noticed, medical-wise, was a lot of trauma. A lot of trauma related to road traffic accidents and to gunshot injuries. A lot of people shot themselves by accident, was the story I got, but also because there were a lot of gangs as well in the town that I was living in, and so if there was an outbreak of gang violence, and it would obviously involve a bit of a gun war as well. One of the situations I felt most proud about was a young woman. She was 18 years old, and she came in with very high blood pressure and a mass in her tummy. We decided that we would investigate her to find out what this mass was and what was causing her problem, and we realised it was a cancer in the abdomen that could be actually taken out and could be life-saving. Now, she came from quite a poor family, and her husband had actually taken the attitude that he may as well let her die because he could get married again. And in a country like Yemen as well, it's not uncommon to have more than one wife. But we felt that wasn't fair on her, so we put a little bit of pressure on him, and we also managed to get some donations from the people in the hospital to send this young girl to the capital city where she could get her operation done for free. And which she did, and she came back to us, and so far we know everything was fine with her, so that was one thing I was quite happy about. One night I was called to see a man who had been shot, and he'd sustained incredibly bad injuries, and they were fatal in the end. We couldn't save him. He came from a gang, and he was shot by another gang member. Now his friends were obviously very upset by this, and they were drinking alcohol, and they were chewing a drug called cat, which is very common in Yemen. It's like an amphetamine, gives you a high. So with this in combination with their Kalashnikovs, they started shooting at each other outside the hospital. So from that was the security point of view, that was the only time I felt unsafe. But I had very good national staff. They basically just pushed me out of the hospital through the back door, and I had to just sit in maternity until things actually calmed down. And as far as I know, they didn't manage to hit each other. The national staff that I worked with in the hospital, they were like a second family. I really enjoyed working with them. They worked hard, they played hard, they really wanted to learn. And it was an absolute pleasure to work with them, and those are the people that I miss the most. I'd love to go on another mission. It's something I really enjoyed. I get a lot of fulfillment out of it, and when I was in Yemen I felt I'd made, even if it was a small impact, there was a positive impact, and the work is just very fulfilling, and it's part of the reason I became a doctor in the first place. So.